Hey guys, welcome to the Crypto Winter Survivor. On this channel I will be reviewing projects that I either find very interesting or not at all. And today's review is about Ferrum or FRM. Ferrum is a bit much to put in one word what they are. They offer all kinds of things. First of all, they have a First Kudi app, which is a payment system focused on Nigeria and more broadly on the African market. And it's basically a way for the people there to get access to cryptos and to send both cryptos and their local fiat currencies over this app to friends and family. And it's pretty important because they have less access to the banking sector in those countries. So it's important that we as a crypto space actually focus on these markets as well. Then there's the Unifier wallet, which has a nice little tool that's called Pull Drops, in which you can send a link to someone you know, and without them having to have a wallet, they can actually click on the link and go to a few download steps, and they can actually have access to the coins you tried to send them. So it's a nifty little thing that I haven't seen anywhere before. And you know, it can be really a hassle to try to get your family members or friends into cryptos, and this is a nice way to get them started right away. Then they're building a decentralized exchange as well. And they offer three things to other cryptocurrencies. They have staking as a service, advisory, and pre-sales. And basically, as a crypto project, you can come and do staking on the Ferrum network. You can ask for advice from the Ferrum network staff, and you can do your pre-sales on the Ferrum network. And all of these things actually cost fees to the Ferrum network, and the Ferrum network buys from this money. They actually buy back the FRM token and burn them. So the whole of the Ferrum ecosystem gets rewarded if other projects use these tools. The team, well, they have a pretty small team of only 5 core members and then 7 advisors. And they do have a well-balanced team, but they don't seem to have too many developers, which might be an issue. A potential problem is they're trying to do a lot of things at the same time. I don't know if it's gonna be too many things at the same time, especially if they don't have enough developers, then this might very well be an issue. I will give them an 8 rating for the project. Basically, I like everything about it, except that I would want to see a bigger team for Ferrum, especially if you want to target these many things at the same time. It might be better to actually have a bigger team. Looking at the markets, they are challenging decentralized exchanges, the DeFi market, the decentralized finance market, fiat to crypto with the First Kudi wallet. And I think they're gonna introduce this into the Unifier wallet as well. Market cap potentials are pretty hard to say a specific number for. We can look at Binance Coin, which is the biggest exchange that actually has a market cap of 5 billion. And then Uniswap, which is the biggest decentralized exchange, which has a market cap of over 1 billion. But then again, it's kind of hard to see them as the biggest competition because Ferrum is really trying to be a lot more than just an exchange. They really do have a lot going for them. So it's kind of hard to see who the biggest challenger is, and maybe their market cap potential is actually a lot higher. And does it need a blockchain? Well, it very much does, because pretty much all it's doing is about cryptocurrencies, and unless you want to have a centralized exchange, it is gonna have to be on a blockchain or something of the sorts. I will give them a 7 rating for the market. Could be higher, of course, but there's so many I mean, they're trying to do a lot of things, which I like, and I think a lot of the things they're trying to do are good and are needed in the crypto space. But it's really hard to put a number on it and see a 1 trillion market cap or whatever insane amount. It's kind of hard to put that kind of numbers onto the markets that Ferrum is going to challenge, because even if they will succeed and even if they would become the biggest, it's going to be in the billions for sure, but it's hard to put a ridiculous amount on it. We just don't have any comparison to do that, so that's why I only give them a 7. But of course, it's definitely not a low rating or anything like that. Looking to the competition, well, we have Binance, Uniswap, Coinbase, just the biggest centralized exchanges, and then Uniswap, the biggest decentralized exchange. But again, you know, Ferrum is trying to do a lot more, so it's kind of hard to put some names for competition, because I don't think there's any project that actually does the same as Ferrum, so it's kind of unfair to compare them to something like Coinbase or Binance, because they are obviously not decentralized. And then you have Uniswap, but they only have a decentralized exchange, and Ferrum does try to be a lot more. And they currently have 3,000 users for their first goodie app, which is not that many, but again, I don't have any comparison. I don't have a good comparison in the African market. So at least they have their product already running, and at least they have active users. So that's always a good sign, and it's hard to compare these numbers with anything else. And they actually have quite a lot of projects already going for the staking as a service, and there's been a couple of projects doing their pre-sale on Ferrum as well. I'll give them a 7 rating for this. Looking back, what could be better? Well, of course, at the exchanges, there's so many of them, you can't really expect them to be the biggest exchange, and if they will, it's going to be a long way. So, but then again, I would have given them a lot lower rating if they were just building a decentralized exchange, because there's a lot of projects doing that, and Ferrum really does try to do something else. And for the whole combination of everything they're trying to do, there's almost no competition right now that I know of. So it's again a number that's kind of in the middle, but definitely on the higher side. Looking at the token economics, they have a current market cap of 40 million, a circulating supply of about 150 million, and a total supply of over 300 million. And this always rings some red flags with me, because there's still so many tokens that are coming onto the market at some point, which always is going to create some form of inflation, and you have to keep this in mind. You can see here what they are planning to do in the next year, which is bringing 34 million tokens onto the market in several ways. One of these ways is by staking, which is not really that big of an issue inflation-wise, because this inflation is actually being paid back to all the token holders, or at least the token holders that are eligible for the staking. But then again, if you just bought it and you can't join the staking pools or whatever, then you know this inflation is going to hit you as well. So it's kind of a bad sign if there's still so many tokens that are left to be coming onto the market. It's never going to be good for the price at some point. But then again, on the flip side, there is buybacks and token burns that I discussed before. So this is actually a deflationary tool, and basically it's gonna be inflationary in the next 5 years. They're gonna bring a lot of tokens onto the market to pay for the project, to keep it running, and to create a lot of stuff and to get it onto exchanges and whatnot. And then at some point it's gonna be more deflationary than inflationary, because they're just gonna keep burning stuff, and especially if they have a lot of projects and they have a lot of users on their network, then it's gonna be a very high number of tokens being burned, and then the deflation can actually go through the roof. But for now, there's gonna be more inflation than deflation. So I will give them a 6 for this, and maybe in like 3 years, if I revisit this topic and a lot of the inflation has been gone, then maybe this rating will be a lot higher. Looking to the token utility, which is one of the most important things in a crypto project that is not being looked after too often. Too many times a project builds the best things in the world and then has zero utility for their token. And if that's the case, then eventually the value of the token is going to zero, even though the project itself could solve all the troubles in the world. But Ferrum doesn't have this issue. There's just a huge list of utility for the token. It's used for gas fees. It's the buybacks from the amounts that are paid. It goes more into the token economics than the token utility, but still it's gonna drive the price up, because the basically in the long run it's gonna be a deflationary token, so that's good for the utility as well in some sort. Then you have the Ferrum government community. Basically, if you have a big amount of Ferrum and 20 Ferrum X, then you can vote on where the Ferrum network is going to. Then you have staking rewards, so you have discounts on fees. You have a foundry incubator, which basically means the pre-sales. So if you have 50k plus Ferrum, then you can join the pre-sales. They have airdrops on their Unifier wallet as well if you have a lot, and potentially there's a lot more to come. So there's decent utility for the token, and they have a lot of room to increase the utility of the token. And a lot of the utility is that it basically is deflationary, or you get some sort of, I mean, if you get some airdrops or if you get some nice pre-sales, then it all adds together. But one thing I should add is most of these things are actually if you have 50k plus FRM, which currently is $10,000, and maybe in a year or in 2 or 3 years this might be 100k plus or whatever. So it is mostly for the higher amount holders. But then again, these are also the people that could actually drive the price down the fastest. So if they have an incentive not to sell, it's gonna be good for everyone. I will give them an 8 for this. It would be higher if a lot of these things were actually for everyone instead of just the higher amount holders. But then again, this is something that could change in the future, and maybe they will lower the minimum requirement for a lot of these issues. And looking to their marketing, they have a website that is ferrum.network. It's a decent website. It's definitely not the nicest I've seen in the crypto space, but it's also definitely not the worst. It's basically somewhere in the middle. It's kind of a fairly standard website, I would say. They do make decent small videos, like marketing material, but their website itself is not too great, but it's also definitely nothing bad. Their Twitter account has 20,000 followers. They have a Telegram group with 16,000, which is very active, and a lot of the staff is active as well, a lot of the core members. They are on BitMax, and since today they are also on KuCoin. And that's always good. If they expand on the number of exchanges that offer them, it's going to be good for the price action and the volume and everything. Then looking at the YouTube creators, they definitely have some decent exposure there. The co-founder, Ian Friend, actually does a lot of interviews with YouTube creators, and this is something that a lot of projects don't do, and I think it's pretty important. I'm not sure if these interviews are paid or not, but it shouldn't even matter that much. I would say that it's a tiny bit better if it isn't paid than if it is, but still just getting the name out is super important for your project, which is something that in my first video I discussed Status, SNT, and they do a lot of things right, but they don't really have someone that goes around and goes on big channels. And I mean, both in the long and short run, it's going to be pretty important to do some decent marketing. And they have a partnership with BitBoy Crypto that has over 200,000 followers on his YouTube channel. And this is always going to be good. It's a paid partnership, I assume. I don't know the details of the partnership, but it's obviously going to be good for the price and for the number of users and everything. If someone like that is promoting the network, and also is actually a advisor to Ferrum. So besides him making some videos about Ferrum, he's also going to give advice to the team on doing marketing things. So that's definitely good. I will give them a 9 rating. Basically, it can always be more, and I will still have to find the project that I would give a 10 rating on their marketing, but a 9 rating is pretty damn high in my opinion. Looking at the price action, they actually went from less than a cent to 30 cents in the last year. And I mean, they only been onto the market for a bit over a year. So basically both graphs are almost the same. Just the sideways beginning was a bit longer in the all-time graph. Yeah, if you look at the graph, then it's been pumping pretty hard as of late. It might be the smartest thing to just wait for a pullback before you buy, but I'm not gonna give any advice on that. I'm not a trader myself. I just invest in projects I really like, and I think if you do like Ferrum for the long run, it shouldn't matter too much if you buy it at 20 cents or 30 cents. But yeah, then you will have to buy it for the long run. If you just buy it for a year time max, then you might want to wait for a pullback. But it's not really my subject of expertise. The rating overview, I clicked one button too many, so I kind of gave a spoiler there. But the project I was giving an 8, a 7 for the market, a 7 for competition, a 6 for the token economics, a 8 for the utility of the token, and a 9 for marketing. Basically, it's all in the plus. To say it nicely, it's all above a 5.5, and nothing is in the red, so that's always nice for a project. And this all comes together to a 7.5, which is a pretty damn good rating in my opinion. And I discussed some of the things that I would like improved, one of which is the team, and one of which is the requirement for the number of tokens that you need to enjoy some of the benefits. But all in all, it is a pretty damn good project in my opinion. So thanks a lot for watching. Look at the show notes below the video if you want to have some links to their website, their white paper, and their social media. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of Ferrum. Would you disagree with any of the ratings I gave? And also, if you want, you can ask me to do a crypto project that you really like, and I will go and review it. So thanks for watching, and until the next one.